Hey there everybody, it's PokeLee. So today what we're going to be doing is doing a deep analysis of the three starter Pokemon and analyzing how good they are, what they compare to, and ultimately helping you decide which one you want to start off with. So first what I'm going to be doing is looking at each one of them individually, then comparing them with similar Pokemon, and then ultimately comparing them to each other, right? So first, little preview. Here's here's Sprigato's line, and then Fuecoco's line, and then Quaxly's line, right? You get to see what they look like here. The game's coming out in just a few days, so I figured Nintendo's probably not going to come after me for this. So, anyways, Meowscarada, right? Its final form is Grass and Dark. Which you've heard me mention before is not the greatest of typing, but it gets Protean. Protean, if you guys don't know, is an ability where whatever move you use, you become that type. So think like Cinderace. Anyhow, let's look at its stats, right? Yes, 76 HP, 110 attack, 70 defense, 80 special attack, or 81, sorry, 70 special defense, and 123 speed. All right, so this thing is fast. I mean, if you look, it's the fastest of the three starter Pokemon, but we'll get into the comparisons later. That's actually really good, right? Because you don't want to be Grass and Dark for very long, because if something hits you with U-turn, you're dead. Your HP and your defense is not especially high, and your special defense is also equally weak. So you're not going to be... I mean, 110, it's good attack, but it's not spectacular attack. The good news is that whatever move you choose, you're going to be that type, so you're going to get the type advantage for that move. However, they've changed Protean to, it used to be every time you use a move, you always switch to that type, right? So you could just stay in there and keep switching for whatever came in. But now they've changed it to where it works the first time you use a move, and then afterwards you're stuck in that type until you switch out and back in again, right? Which so let's see, which one is it that I have here? Hold on here. Okay, so if you look at the moves that it gets, right? These are the moves that it learns, right? It has its own signature move, which is Flower Trick. What this move is, it's a grass move. It's basically like a Leaf Blade. It's a physical grass attack that is 70 damage, or 70 base power, but it always hits critical. That means it will always go through whatever defense boost, and on top of that, it will have a 50% boost to its power, right? So that's definitely, you're going to want to have that on there. You're going to want to have U-turn in your move set, because you want to be able to get out of there if you're in an unfavorable situation, and you're going to turn into bug type, and that's going to be a strong U-turn. So it's a great pivot mon, or a great way to set up or keep momentum. It also gets knockoff. So for those that don't know, knockoff has been removed from the move pool of tons of Pokemon. Like, I should probably do my next video on that, like the moves and changes that have been removed on various Pokemon. But like Weavile, for example, no longer gets knockoff. It no longer gets knockoff, and it no longer gets triple axle. But like I said, that's for another video. So knockoff is a really great asset, especially because I added a bunch of new busted items that people could have. So Flower Trick, U-turn, knockoff, and considering that you're grass and dark, you can you could run Play Rough to turn into Fairy to take care of any fighting types that try to come in and attack you. You can, and that also resists bug type, right? So that takes care of 2 of your weaknesses defensively. Let's see, what else was there? I mean, Slash is normal type. That's not especially interesting. Let's look at the bottom. Okay, these are the egg moves. The egg moves are not especially valuable, but here we are. Okay, now here are all the moves that it could learn via TM, right? You could learn Thunder Punch. So you are weak to flying. They bring in their bird, and then you turn into electric and hit him super effectively, and are no longer weak to hurricanes. Let's see. There was Thunder Punch. You have Low Kick. You could become fighting if another dark type comes in. I'm just going through the moves right here. Let me start from the bottom. So I already said Play Rough. If another grass type comes in, you could run Acrobatics, become flying type, and if you didn't have any item, that's like 110 power, right? But that's not what I was looking for. Here, Shadow Claw. This would be very interesting. So obviously, it's not. Nobody's going to bring their ghost in on you when you are already a dark type. But if somebody brings in a fighting type Pokemon, you running Shadow Claw turn into Ghost as they try to hit you for close combat. Do no damage, and you have the upper hand. And hopefully you can. It was a 2-hit KO, and they already have lost half their life, and you're fast, so you may be able to finish the job and take no damage. So let's look at it. It has a pretty good moves, but let's look at it compared to the other similar Pokemon, right? So the most similar ones would be Cinderace and Greninja. If you compare their stats, right, it has it's in between Cinderace and Greninja, a little bit closer towards Cinderace with its HP. Its attack is in between also. Its defense also in between. Special attack, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be using special attack. Its SPDF is the weakest, but considering its HP, it's going to be better than Greninja. But crucially, the speed, 1 point faster than Greninja, right? And speed really is everything on these types of Pokemon, right? You want to hit quickly and get out of the way, or finish something off before it can attack you. I mean, if you manage to kill something, then it's a free attack, right? Speed is really, really vital, especially considering you want to change your typing to something that might live, because this typing defensively is not good. So when you compare it to Cinderace and Greninja, it really is favorable thanks to this right here, right? Cinderace is great because he has the highest attack, and because he's got his great move, Pyro Ball. But you also have a really good move, the move that always crits, right? So it's essentially it's essentially equivalent damage, but on grass type. So anyways, Meowscarada is a very good Pokemon. It is arguably the best Protean Pokemon, right? One may argue maybe Greninja if you're focusing on special, or Blaziken if you're just going for all-out damage, but you outspeed them. you outspeed them and you can do damage to them and get out of the way. Or if they're like, look, Greninja is going to get annihilated by your grass move, right? Your flower trick. Depending on how the Cinderace is set up, you could probably do quite a lot of damage there as well. But yeah, so that's a Meowscarada. We will do more comparisons later, but let's move on to Skeledirge, right? Skeledirge here has the highest HP and defenses out of all of them, but so it's got 104 HP, 75 defense. Before I go further, actually, look, it gets Unaware. Unaware, for those who don't know, well, actually, first, let me go over the typing. Fire and Ghost, right? Fire and Ghost, it's a typing that is not uncommon, and, you know, most notably is on Blacephalon. It's a great offensive typing. But its ability is Unaware, which means that any stat changes the opponent does doesn't mean anything to you, right? So if they Sword Stance, they still hit for their base attack level. You know, if they Calm Mind or Nasty Plot, none of that matters to you. If they Iron Defense, if they use Amnesia and raise their special defense, you go straight through. It doesn't matter. Likewise, though, on the flip side, if they do something like Draco Meteor and reduce their special attack by half, their next Draco Meteor is going to hit just as hard because you're unaware of their stat changes. However, your stat changes still stick. So if you increase your own special attack, it would still hit. You're just unaware of the opponent's changes. So hopefully that makes sense. So your HP is 104. Your attack is 75. Your defense is 100. So you are bulky. But your special attack is 110. Your special defense is 76. And your speed is 66. So something to keep in mind, right? If you're just looking at this as a direct comparison, you hit just as hard on the special attack side as Meowscarada does on the attack side, but you're like half the speed. But something to keep in mind is you are very bulky. You are basically 4%. If you're familiar with Mew is 100 across the board. You're 4% bulkier on the physical side. If you compare a Skeledirge with other unaware Pokemon, and in this generation, unaware Pokemon are going to be essential. If you compare, because there's so many Pokemon that come in and automatically get a boost, right? You're going to, if you run balance, you're going to want to have an unaware Pokemon or stall or whatever. Anything that's just not pure hyper offense, you're going to need an unaware Pokemon. And even if you are hyper offense, you might need one just to pivot out. So if you compare it to the other unaware brethren, I guess the biggest standout would be Clefable. But anyhow, if you look, you have more HP. And HP is huge. HP is more important than defense and special defense. It's another lever, but it affects both of your defensive stats. HP is really important. You have the highest HP. The attack doesn't matter because you're not going to be attacking. You not on the physical side, at least. Your defense is the highest, right? But it's 100 defense on top of 104 HP. Your special attack is 110, right? So you have the highest special attack of your other peers, I guess. Your special defense is 76, so it's higher than Quagsire, but lower than Clefable. However, because you have higher HP, that kind of mitigates it a little bit. So you're basically, I did the math, and you're at like 92, a little over 92% of the way to having Clefable special defense. And your speed, you're the fastest of the unaware Pokemon, right? So if you just look at it based on stats, you are the best unaware Pokemon, right? Unless you specifically need special defense, this is the unaware Pokemon of choice. If we go over and look at its moves, right? It learns Torch Song. Torch Song is a 90 base power fire special attack, which boosts your special attack stage. It boosts your special attack one stage every time you use it. So this 110, just boom, 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 you could just easily snowball, right? You'll become a monster. Let's see. You also, well, look, I'm just gonna go on the highlights. You also learn Shadow Ball, which is a great offensive move. Instead of that, maybe you could run Will-O-Wisp and shut down physical attackers. Keep in mind, you are very physically bulky. You have Will-O-Wisp, and so you could burn them, and then Hex, which is 65 damage, and it is double damage for any Pokemon that have a status on them. Status seems like it's going to be getting Pokemon Burn is going to be much harder in this generation because they got rid of Scald. So the Will-O-Wisp may be a very valuable part of your team. So yeah, this Pokemon is very good. Now you guys might think, well, hey, look, it can't heal like the other Pokemon. It doesn't have Recover. Au contraire, it has Slack Off. Slack Off is basically the same as any other like Recover or Moonlight or anything else like that. In this generation, all those healing moves have been cut down to only 5 base PP, so you can max that out up to 8, which is not really the best, but you could always run Leftovers, which is going to be big on bulky Pokemon because, you know, healing directly is going to be more difficult. Let's look at the other coverage moves it might get. Okay, it gets Solar Beam. So you can have a Power Herb on your Skeledirge and hit super effectively with Solar Beam if they bring in a water type, and it would use that herb and hit in one move. I'm going to focus just on the special. I mean, it gets Earthquake, which would be great if you had Heatran come in, but let me see. You get Overheat. I mean, you could, considering how your other what was that move called? Hold on. Considering how Torch Song raises your special attack already, if something comes in and you want to kill it immediately, you could always go over to use Overheat. Let me say it was Overheat. So you do learn Earth Power, which is great coverage for you. Yeah, so it really seems like this is built really to be defensive Pokemon. You set up Will-O-Wisp, or you steamroll. Look, you learn Rest. You can. Oh, here we go. You got Fire Spin, right? You could come out when something's setting up, trap them with Fire Spin, and they attack you if maybe they don't suspect you of being unaware. You trap them with Fire Spin, and then you just continue to get big on them, or you just rest them out, burn them. yeah, so you trap them with fire spin, you burn them, they're ticking down double, and maybe you just protect and rest or substitute as you're healing with leftovers. So there's a few different ways to use this thing. Now let's look over. So Skeleturge, great unaware Pokemon. So just like Meowscarda is the fastest of the Protean Pokemon, Skeleturge is the most defensively bulky of the unaware Pokemon, and the most offensive as well. So Skeleturge is a great Pokemon. Now we will go over to Quaquaval, Quaxly's final evolution. So it is a water fighting type. Its hidden ability is Moxie. And Moxie, every time you get a kill, you directly kill. So not from it being poisoned and ticking down or sand, you have to kill it yourself. But every time you kill a Pokemon, your attack goes up one stage. If you look, this one has... okay, so let's go through the stats one by one. 85 HP, 120 attack, 80 defense, 85 special attack, 75 special defense, and 85 speed. So its speed is mid, it's in the middle of these two, but its attack is 120. It's the highest attack. It's actually the same attack of a very similar Pokemon, Blaziken, right? Blaziken is fire and fighting, but instead of Moxie, it gets speed boost. However, this Pokemon here, I guess we could do a direct comparison later. This Pokemon has basically all its stats are better except for special attack. But yeah, instead of speed boost, it gets Moxie, but it gets a move here. Let's see. Whoops. Where's... Okay, let's see. It gets... Oh, these are the moves that it... Oh, okay, sorry. I lost where I was. Here we are. Aqua Step. Aqua Step is an 80 base power physical water move. Every time you use it, every time it hits, you get +1 speed. So if you think about Blaziken's ability gives it +1 speed every turn. Well, you're just a little bit faster than Blaziken. If you use this move every turn, you will continue to get faster, just like Blaziken, and outspeed it. But Blaziken wouldn't survive anyways. So, but on top of that, you have Moxie. So every time you get a kill, your power goes up. So if you're in a situation where you're fighting a bunch of Pokemon that don't have any water resists, you could run Choice Band on this thing and just have a really strong Aqua Step, keep getting faster, and as long as they don't kill you, you're going to sweep them. So this Quaquaval is the best sweeper of the new Pokemon that have been introduced, right? Now let's compare it here to the Moxie Pokemon. I personally don't feel like it should be compared to the Moxie Pokemon. I think it should be compared to Blaziken, but we'll do that comparison later. So comparing it to the other Moxie Pokemon, right? You have you have Gyarados, which is water and flying, and you have Crocodile, which is ground and dark, right? You have the lowest HP. Your attack, the attack is all very similar here, right? You're 120, a little bit higher than Crocodile and a bit lower than Gyarados. Your defense is 80, but considering your HP, it's a little bit less than the others. Your special attack is higher, but you're probably not going to be using special attack unless it's very specific circumstances. Your special defense is probably on the level of Crocodile's because he has the higher HP, and lower than Gyarados. And your speed is 85. So you are in between Gyarados and Crocodile. Now, if looking just purely at this thing, Gyarados has Dragon Dance. Dragon Dance increases your attack and speed both by 1 stage. Considering how he is the bulkiest of these Pokemon, he has Dragon Dance and Moxie. The speed boost only matters up until you're faster than everything your opponent has. So if I were to compare in this comparison, I would say probably Gyarados is the best Moxie user. However, offensively, it doesn't really get the greatest of moves, which is something to consider. Close combat is a great offensive move, which I believe you get. But let's take a look at the moves that you get, right? So these are your level up moves. You get Aqua Step, which we've already covered. Let's see. Well, it's Wing Attack. You get Liquidation, which I don't know why you'd run that when you have Aqua Jet. Wave Crash. It's 120 base power water move, but it's 1/4 recoil. So it's similar to what is that? Heat Crash? No, it's similar to other moves, or like Wild Charge, where you take a 1/4 recoil. So look here, you do get close combat. You get close combat. You get acrobatics, right? So if you had a Focus Sash on, right, and you're setting up, somebody hits you, gets you down to your Focus Sash, you use up your Focus Sash, and now you have no item. Acrobatics hits for 110 base power. So that'll be huge, especially if you are already fast. You have Aqua Jet if you ever just need pure priority, but hopefully with Aqua Step you'll outspeed everything that you need to outspeed. But it still may be useful even if you've gotten really fast, because maybe you're facing somebody who has priority, and if you're both using priority, the faster one wins. So these are the moves that it learns by leveling up. And let's look. These are the egg moves. You get Roost. You get Roost, which could be really good if you are setting up and getting injured along the way. Your health is ticking down, but you know you can survive if you Roost. It's always better to be able to stay in there, right? You got Roost. You have Last Resort, which could be a really powerful move if you want to Swords Dance, Aqua Step, Roost, and then Last Resort. Last Resort is like 140 base power normal move. So that could be a really good setup. Obviously, Detect, being able to protect and see what the opponent's going for is always valid. And here are the TMs that you could get. So here, I already mentioned it, Swords Dance. That would be great, just to get the ball rolling on your as you're trying to rack up kills. Swords Dance doubles your attack power. Let me just take a look at these other moves here. Facade could be good if you suspect you're going to be status. I mean, you're not a normal type, but Brick Break, it's not especially useful. Depending on how common Aurora Veil is going to be. It's only 75 base power, but it gets rid of screens. Bulk Up could be good, right? Because you want to stay in there to sweep. Close Combat. Brave Bird. 120 base power. Flying type move. That could be another great thing. Of course, it comes at the sacrifice of your life, but Yeah, oh, here. This is a great move here. Ice Spinner. Ice Spinner is it's an 80 base power ice move. It's essentially like a rapid spin, but instead of spinning off hazards, it spins off terrain. And considering how so many Pokemon are going to be relying on electric terrain to boost up, terrain control is going to be huge. So a move like this, or Steel Roller, or anything that can set a counter terrain, or remove terrain, is going to be super valuable. So this could be a great move. I mean, it is a great move, but the question is whether or not it's great for this one. The good news is it's an ice move. It's an ice move and you're weak to flying. So this really does seem like a great fit here. And you can prevent somebody from being able to set up something that might be able to take you out. Yeah, so let's go on to, so yes, this is a great Moxie. This is a great Moxie. It could be arguably be the best Moxie user, but it is a great Moxie user. Now, comparing them to each other, I'm going to compare them to each other. Then I'm going to show you guys a few calcs that I did. But comparing them, Skeleturge, of course, has the highest HP. Qualavol has the highest attack. Or Quaquaval, sorry. Highest defense, Skeleturge, of course. Highest special attack, Skeleturge, compared to these guys, but that doesn't really matter. Highest special defense, still Skeleturge, and it's by a bigger margin than you might think because of the higher HP. And then speed, right? So last place, second place, first place. However, considering the move pool, this Quaquaval can easily get faster than Meowscarada, right? It could be a toss-up depending, but straight from the gate, Meowscarada is the faster Pokemon. Now, looking at their typing, right? Fire and Ghost is a good typing. Water and Fighting is a great offensive typing. Grass and Dark is, it's a very bad typing defensively, but like I've said numerous times, if you can change your type, then that's not a problem. But switching into stuff is a problem, or things being faster than you is a problem. So let me show you some calculations. Hold on, let me just try to get it to pop up here. Bam. Okay, here we are. So looking at the typing here, right? First, let me click. Okay, looking at the typing over here, I thought it was interesting that Meowscarada, compared to the others, it beats it, right? I mean, you would not looking at grass, fire, and water necessarily. I mean, grass beats water, right? But dark beats ghost. I mean, if you look at it, you'd think it's kind of set up where each can beat the other, right? Water beats fire, and fighting beats dark. Fire beats grass. Well, here's the problem. I mean, I guess Ghost is immune to fighting, but Skeleturge doesn't beat Qualavol. Because, but yeah, so interestingly, like I said before, Dark beats Ghost and Grass beats Water. So let's look at those calculations. Here, I just use Abomasnow because it's the first Pokemon that shows up. But if you look at the stats here, these stats are all from Meowscarada. So I wanted to show you first off, because you are grass and dark, how important speed is, right? So here I made a Meowscarada that's as fast as possible, right? The speed here, I put it at max speed. I made the nature plus speed. And here's just a move set I set up here. And I'll explain why I chose this move set later. But I wanted to show you how valuable speed is because of your typing. If you have your Mouscarada in against somebody else's Mouscarada, the faster one always wins, right? U-turn knocks out the opposing Mouscarada. So here I have Jolly and Choice Scarf, right? This speed is 568. You're fast as hell. Nothing's beating you unless it also has a Choice Scarf. Over here, somebody was greedy, right? They wanted to max out this attack. So they have plus attack and a Choice Band. But even if they're a Choice Scarf, it wouldn't matter because Jolly, you know. But anyways, so they are max attack with a Choice Band. So they would hit harder if they were to hit you. But they're never going to hit you. Also, I wanted to show a different potential set. But let me, I guess, explain. So Leaf Blade and Knockoff. Leaf Blade here, oops, I changed the power to 70 here. I forgot to do that over here. That's going to be the Flower Trick move, right? Knockoff is Knockoff, and here I have Shadow Claw and U-turn. And the reason why I have Shadow Claw is if somebody switches into something or tries to use a fighting move, I want to be able to turn into a ghost on them and not be hit. U-turn is a great move in general, but being Protean, turning into a bug type, and the fact that opposing Meowscaradas are 4 times weak to it, I just feel like it always has to be there. But here's another alternative set, still keeping Leaf Blade or Flower Trick and Knockoff, but having Thunder Punch for flying types and having Play Rough for fighting types. So yeah, speed is everything. You have to, if you're going to have Meowscarada, you have to run Jolly, right? And if the opponent has a Meowscarada, you better have Choice Scarf. And pray that they are not jolly with Choice Scarf as well. So, as I was saying, so it beats its own self. Depending, as long as you're faster, you will beat, your Mouscarada will beat the opposing Mouscarada. So here I used Greninja, but I still have, this is the same, trust me, except for this again should be 70 and it should always crit. But so here I got Skeleturge and made it a Clefable, right? But I gave it Flamethrower and Shadow Ball, and these other two I didn't mess with. I just figured that those would be the offensive moves of choice, and I didn't want to fiddle around too much because it actually did take a bit of time to set up. So if you see over here, you could do Knockoff here, right? You do Knockoff, and it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO. You hit them, you knock off their item, you switch from being grass and dark to just being dark type. They hit you with, I don't know, Shadow Ball or Flamethrower. They don't kill you, and then you hit them with the next knockoff and kill them. Or they switch to somebody else, and that other person gets knocked off as well. So in this situation, the very same, it's still Choice Scarf, it's still Jolly. Mouscarada wins against Skeleturge. And this Skeleturge is max HP and max special attack, which might not be what people run, right? I just threw a set together. And actually it was already bold, but let's just show you here, right? Max HP and max defense. I mean, I guess in this situation here, the Flamethrower has an 87% chance to hit KO. But you still do significant damage to them, and they do less damage to you, and you've taken their item, which, considering how leftovers is very important in this generation, I think you got the better end of that bargain. And them being max defensive, they're not going to be as much of a physical, I mean, not physical, of an offensive threat. So, depending on their set, you also win this scenario. And then here you are against Qualavel. And here I use Blaziken as a base, but it doesn't really matter. And I have my 80 base power water move, close combat, and icicle crash, which I've lowered to 80 power, which is that ice terrain move, which I've already forgotten the name of it. But if you see, Leaf Blade, bam, knocks it out, just clean out. And you're faster naturally, but you already got a choice scarf on. So I wanted to keep the same set for every scenario. Yeah, I mean, the only way... So let me show you why I have Shadow Claw on here, right? So let's say you Leaf Blade. Bang, you kill him, right? Great. However, let's say you Leaf Blade and they have... See right here, I put Focus Sash. They have Focus Sash. You bring them down to 1 HP, and now you are just a grass type, right? You see that's been removed. And then they close combat, and they have a 56.3% chance to OHKO, right? You hit him with Shadow Claw, and instead you do... It's a guaranteed 3-hit KO, right? You hit him with Shadow Claw, then they try with close combat. You're a ghost. They miss you, right? Let me change here to ghost. Where is that? Ghost. So they try to hit you with close combat. They miss you. You've already knocked them down. You hit them with another Shadow Claw, and they either try to speed step or do the ice move. Doesn't really matter. And they don't kill you. And then you hit them with a third one, and they're dead. So you won that match. You won that match even if they had that Focus Sash. You win the match with the Leaf Blade. Just killing them outright if you have rocks or sand or they have any kind of chip, or if you suspect that they have a Focus Sash, you win just by spamming Shadow Claw, unless they predict you and do their water move. But they're gonna have to be really crazy because you're a leaf type. I mean, you're grass type. So if they make a prediction and it's wrong, they die, right? If you make a prediction and they don't know you made that prediction, they die. I mean, the odds are overwhelmingly stacked in your favor. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically what I wanted to show. I thought that was really interesting. But hold on, let me hide this window here. So yeah, those are my overall views, right? So even though this one may beat the other two in that example, that doesn't mean that it is necessarily the best one, right? Because it is arguably the best Protean Pokemon, but do you need that? You may, depending on your playstyle, need an unaware Pokemon. This Skeleturge is the best unaware Pokemon. So it may be essential to your team if you need unaware. this Pokemon can kill and can do a lot of damage in certain scenarios, but it may not necessarily be a sweeper on its own. Quaquaval is the best sweeper of these 3 Pokemon. So it's an interesting situation here. You have 3 different Pokemon. They're all 3 viable. All 3 are good for their own scenario. And it really depends on how you think you're going to be playing. And ultimately, you're probably going to want to have all 3 of these. The question is, which one do you want to start with? I had from the very beginning been thinking about getting the grass type. And I seem to be convincing myself to go this way, but I'm kind of thinking of whether I want Meowscarada or Quaquaval. And I then can later trade and get Skeleturge. I'm leaning Meowscarada. But let me know what you guys thought of this video. Let me know which one you were going to go with. The good thing is these are not legendaries, right? So you can get your hands on all 3 of them. So it's not the most important thing in the world which one you start with. But I always like to start with something faster because I think it's more valuable when playing the game. So you're not, wasting your time trying to heal up, and you could just steamroll the AI. So let me know what you guys thought. And also, I want to thank you guys who've subscribed. I mean, this is a brand new channel, and to think that we're already at 51 subscribers is tremendous. Yeah, so stay tuned for tomorrow's little deep dive, where I'm going to be going through all the changes to the Pokemon the moves and everything. That way, when you start the game, you'll know what's up, right? So, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and let me know if you guys have if you liked what I had to say, if you didn't like what I had to say, or felt like there was something I didn't get to, let me know. And also, if you want to see all this information on your own, I will leave a link in the description for you guys to peruse at your own leisure. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.